My name is Sarah, professional interior designer and creator of the blog She Holds Dearly. On this channel, I like to talk about making a home beautiful on any budget.
Well, today I'm continuing on with a series that I started this year, focusing on different types of decorations, things that you can thrift, things that maybe you are inheriting, and specific topics, and then how to incorporate them into your own homes. And today I want to talk about sentimental pieces. I think that these are the pieces really that can make a difference in a home and take it from looking like a catalog or like everyone else's homes and actually make it unique and custom. This is where you get the bespoke look. We don't use that word a lot in the US, but it is that bespoke just means custom made for you. And so these are the pieces that you would find in your travels or from your childhood. They're things that represent special accomplishments and things that point to the uniqueness that God has put in you. And they are, I find, oftentimes the conversation pieces that people ask about when you're giving your little home tour. When people come over, they ask about, what is that? Where is that from? And why are you displaying it like that on the wall or something like that? And it can spark quite the conversation. So let's take a look at some pieces that are around my home and the ways that I like to incorporate them either into daily life or put them up on display so that people can enjoy them and talk about them, or maybe create a collection around them. Those are three of the main ways that I like to incorporate sentimental items. Now, it really does help if your pieces have sort of the same era, same color tones going on. There's some similarities oftentimes to your style. If something is way out in left field, a lot of times it doesn't work very well in your space, although it could be, just sort of a focal piece. But I have found that the pieces that I use the most do fit sort of the traditional decorating style that I love so much and have that old world European feel. So for instance, we're gonna take a look at some of my pieces that I've collected on my trips. And recent trips have been design retreats. We've done, I think this is coming up on our 5th one that we've done. And we like to stay at the Mayhurst Estate. This is in Virginia. We have this one coming up in September. But I bought one of their little porridge bowls. They have a little gift shop in there. And they have mugs and Christmas ornaments and things. And it was the first time I went there, I bought this porridge bowl. And I do not keep this tucked away in my cabinet with my other bowls. I have this styled up front and center in my kitchen. Also at that design retreat, I met a lady named Brandy Still, Brandi, and then Still, if you want to look her up. She is one of the only silhouettists. Is an artist who just looks at your profile and cuts out your silhouette. There's not very many of them left in the world. It's kind of becoming a lost art. So Brandy was there. She was one of the guests at our design retreat. And she did my silhouette. This is not just a random silhouette. This is Sarah. And so I have this not in a gallery wall, although it would look great in a gallery wall. I have this as a focal point in our bathroom. So you can use it as a focal point, you can use it as part of a collection. The second time we went to the Mayhurst Estate for it's the Bespoke Design Retreat, I found this beautiful dish. I don't know how old this is, but we do one full day of antiquing on these retreats that we go on. And I really love the purple. I think it's a hard color to find, but I found this. And so I don't keep this stored away. I have this in my bathroom holding little washcloths. Another trip that I love to go on is more business related, and I go with some blogging / YouTubing friends that I've known for many years now. We get together every year. I'm leaving for a couple weeks to go see them soon. One of them gave me this rolling pen. Lisa, when we stayed at her place, she gave me this rolling pin, and I have this styled up with a bunch of other rolling pins. I don't use those other rolling pins, I literally thrifted them probably for $1 each because I wanted to style them in a crock, and it's purely a decoration there. But I created a collection around something that was really special to me. I also have this mirror, this wooden mirror. I paid $2 for this when we were thrifting with my friend Kristen last year, and I have this one styled up in my bathroom. So not anything super showy. None of this is super showy. It very much works with my style, but I know what they are. And for instance, like this mirror is something that I do use. I'll look at the back of my hair or whatever. It is very functional and very useful and very sentimental all at the same time. You can see here on the wall that I've collected a lot of photographs and different pieces of memorabilia also from the Bespoke Design Retreat and have them put in a gallery wall. You'll see that I do that several places in my home where I use the gallery wall to showcase things that are very special to me. So while I'm on these trips collecting things and thinking about how to incorporate them in my home, I am also being careful with how well I'm sleeping. I think sleep is essential when you're traveling. I don't know why, but traveling seems to be extra stressful on the human body. So one of the things that I have been loving when I'm traveling is using these Oslo sleep buds. Can you see these? So these are not AirPods, they're not headphones, they're not earplugs, and they don't actually cancel out the surrounding noise that you don't want to hear, but they do what's called sleep masking. So the Oslo sleep buds, they're made with a very soft silicone material, and the idea is that they fit in your ear, flush with your ear, so you can sleep on your side. See how flat that is. So I can sleep on my side all night. Their charge is up to 10 hours, so you can sleep all night with them. And you get to choose from the app several different sounds. They're all really good, but there's, crackling fire, and there's waves, and there's air rushing, and different sounds you can choose from. Or you can choose to listen to your audiobook, and it will sense when you've actually fallen asleep, and then we'll switch over to just a noise masking sound. So when I'm traveling, I don't want to hear the different sounds of the different air conditioners in the places I'm at, dogs barking, or even just the noise in my own head about, what I've got to get done the next day and which flights I have to catch and things. I like being able to stabilize my thoughts and the sounds that are coming into my mind, and the Oslo sleep buds are just perfect for that. There's also an alarm that you can set where it will wake you up and no one else in the room will hear it, and so I love that feature as well too. Thank you to Oslo for sponsoring today's video, and if you want to get the best night's sleep of your life, scan this QR code here and you will get $10 off of your set of sleep buds. I will also put the link in the description below, and you can use my code SHEHD, and again, that'll get you $10 off your pair of sleep buds. Another area that I seem to collect wonderful things and want to display them in my house is the area of relatives. People that have maybe passed, people that are still living, but I really love, and I want to remember them as I move throughout my day and have things that are reminding me of them. So some things pop up seasonally, like this flag here. This was Colby's grandfather's flag, and his mother was here for the bridal shower, and she recognized it, and it really touched her heart that we had it out on our porch, and she said Grandpa would be so excited to know that we had that out. I used to go to a cabin when I was little, and we would play croquet, and it was my grandparents' cabin, and it was just the dreamiest place in my mind. I have such good memories there, and it was right on the river, and we had a cooler down in the river. We kept our watermelon in the river in Oregon, and so many good memories. We had penny candy that we could get from the store if we walked down a ways, and anyway, so much joy in those memories. And so my croquet set makes me think of that, and so maybe it's not something that came from those relatives like the flag, but it's something that is similar to what you did use when you were with them, like the croquet set. And this goes on my porch. Usually every summer I'll put it out as one of my porch decorations. And I just know for myself what it symbolizes and how special it is. Okay, maybe you have one of these that your grandmother had, and this was my grandmother's real cast iron clothes iron, and I've had it on display in my laundry room. Currently I'm using it as a doorstop. So you can use things in different ways and make them more utilitarian in some seasons of your life. So this is a great doorstop if you have one of these. I have my brother's baby cup. And I love baby cups. I think they're darling for scoops or for little storage containers. I actually keep my bobby pins in this. I have a matching one to his, but he didn't want it. It wasn't sentimental to him. So I scooped this up, and it's just sweet to me. It makes me think of him. I also have a cake stand that he gave to me as a wedding gift. And it's not anything super special. I think he bought it at Target, but it was special to me because it was from him. And I built a whole cake plate collection around the one that he gave me. And I keep those in my laundry room. I use them for all of the events that we put on and birthday parties. And I think that you can do that too, where you have one special piece from someone and then you build out. And all those other pieces may be thrifted, but it's the one from the person you love that started the collection. I have an Aunt Marilyn who she's passed now, but she left me a set of Irish crystal goblets. And I do use these a couple times a year. I will use them. I have more of them in the cupboard, but I just wanted to share these 4 that I have in my kitchen. They're very valuable to me. I think even just monetarily, I think they're pretty valuable. But I have them styled up right in between my IKEA glasses. And I like the contrast, kind of the high-low of the elegance of the Irish crystal next to my cheap IKEA glasses. So you can do that too if you have something fancy. She also gave me the secretary desk that is in my living room. So you might have pieces that you've inherited, accent furniture that you've inherited, and you just are tucking it into corners in your house, and they're extra special. They're beyond the items that you would just find at a thrift store because there's so much history and love in that piece that's representing there. Aunt Marilyn also gave me a collection of shells that were free. She had a beach house that we used to go to, and she would collect these big white seashells, and she had a whole box of them, and one day she just gave them to me. And they're not worth anything, but I love that it's a collection, and so I have them styled up in this great big glass jar, which I thrifted the jar, and then I just filled it with the white shells. I could use that for summer decorating, or I just have it out all the time in my living room because I have sort of a light academia theme, and I really want natural pieces in the living room, and so that's working really well. And I love that there's that extra depth that it was from her. My mom passed, oh gosh, it's been almost 3 years now. But this is very special to me. I even broke it and I glued this piece back together because it wasn't just any mortar and pestle, it was my mother's. And so I keep this, and I'll grind up herbs in it, like rosemary or something. I keep that in my kitchen by my sink. Okay, a lot of time, I get this question a lot where people are inheriting photographs, family photos, and honestly, I think that those are the hardest thing of all when you're trying to declutter, because there's so much pressure to hang on to them, and yet you don't half the time even know who is in that picture. It's starting, the memory of them is starting to fade, and it does. Each generation has less information, and that's very natural. And I do know the pictures that are my mother though, and my grandfather, the croquet set grandfather. And so I have a whole collection of them. I have them styled up in my living room in a tray. It's a wooden tray, and I believe my great grandfather made the tray. Anyway, I think that is a good option too. If you have some old sentimental photographs that you don't want to put in an album, you want people to enjoy them, but you want it to be sort of decorative, I think they look really nice in a tray. And every once in a while someone will just pull that tray over onto the coffee table, and they'll sort through the sweet little pictures and still enjoy them. The piano in my living room was my mother's, and she learned to play the piano on that. She became a music teacher. She was a very accomplished pianist. In fact, the reason that I choose the piano music that I do for the YouTube videos is in honor of her, and it sounds like her playing when I hear that music. I get a lot of feedback from you about how much you love that music. That's the backstory on the music for our YouTube channel. Now, this piece is a piece that I thrifted. I thrifted this wool blanket. I bet I paid, I don't know, $8 for it or something. And it was plain. It did not have this crocheted trim on the edge. But when my mom was toward the end of her life and she was suffering from dementia, I bought this crochet trim off Amazon, and I would sit in a chair with my mom, and I was under a lot of stress and grief, and I just needed my hands busy, and I stitched this trim around this whole blanket. I loved the contrast of the feminine with the masculine, to have the lace with the wool. Now this blanket makes me think of my mom because of that whole experience and the way there was beauty that came out of such a dark time in my life, and it's just so tangible with this blanket. So I love this blanket. I also have my mom's baby cup. Okay, and the last piece I want to share along the lines of relatives is something that reminds me of my father. So he's still alive. I just saw him the other day, and I found this at the thrift store. I think it was $2. It is a chickadee, or at least it looks like a chickadee to me, and I loved it. I grabbed it because that was my nickname when I was little, was Chickadee, and my dad used to call me that. Hey, and I know this is totally last minute, but I just want to put this out there in case any of you can make it. We are doing our Thrift Like a Pro workshop today. I'm going to go live on Zoom at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm going to spend about 90 minutes giving you everything I got from the last 20 years of thrifting: how to get good furniture, how to barter, how to resell items, where to go, what's the best time to go. We are going to look at places all over the country, and I'm going to share what I know, and I know it can save you thousands and thousands of dollars every year. I would say thousands of dollars each month, but it depends on how often you're actually thrifting. Okay, so that is going live here in a couple hours if you're watching this video right when it comes out. Otherwise, we will send you a recording, but anyone who wants to be last minute and slip into class, you are welcome to join us. Well, you can see the collection of things here that I've gotten from my friends. I think gifts are also things that you can work into your decorating. Of course, I've got the crocheted washcloths and little makeup pads that my good friend Anne, she's also the right hand to everything She Holds Dearly. She made these for me, and they're so soft and beautiful, and I have them on display in my bathroom. I also have this towel that's embroidered with an S from my friend Lena, and I have that over the handle of the shower. My friend Elaine gave me this little dish, and I keep this in our bathroom. And then my friend Bridget gave me this little set of feathers that are gold dipped, and I just love them. I put them in this little votive holder. And so think about how you can incorporate gifts that mean a lot to you, and then they will just continue to make you smile every time you see them because you remember the person that gave them to you. There are little pieces tucked into my decorating that make me think of my children. So if you have something, it could just be as simple as a number. So I have a gold number 4. It's something that you can get at Home Depot. It's a house number. And I have that on the wall in my fireside room, and it just reminds me of my 4 children. And then below that is a tray that my friend Heather gave to me years ago. And if you look closely, it is a scene of moms having a play date. It's a Victorian scene. And so everyone's dressed Victorian, but the moms are having a play date, and they're working on their sewing while the kids play. And so I keep that to remember those early days of motherhood. This basket here in the living room was once in the nursery. I originally got this rolling basket to go into Abby's nursery when she was born, and I've kept it all these years, and now it holds our shoes. We take our shoes off when we come in the door. I know we talked about photographs that we inherit from family members, but also there's a few photographs that we still do print out, especially from special occasions and things. I don't have a lot of them. I'm pretty strict. I keep most of my photos to a minimum, but I do keep a few on my desk that are black and white of my children, and those are very special to me. I don't imagine I would ever replace those. All right, so we've looked at things that remind me of my children, but I also have things that remind me of my pets. Here comes Nala right now. And so I have a little thrifted frame with a picture of Kira in it, and then I've collected other pieces that remind me of them. I have this walking cane. Actually, just that profile is that Rhodesian Ridgeback look that I love so much. So I have a walking cane, and I have that in a collection of other canes and umbrellas right by the door here. I found these darling bookends on Facebook Marketplace and added those into our living room decor. And so you can just have these little, basically Easter egg pieces throughout your house that remind you of things that you love and that you never want to forget, even after they're long gone. And I hope you have pieces that remind you of a beloved pet too. So I have a few other things in my house that I could share with you, but you get the idea. There are things that my husband has gifted me. There are things that remind me of our relationship. There's things that remind me of my childhood. And I just want to challenge you to think like that when you're thrifting. Think like that when you're traveling. Look at the gifts that people give to you and the things that you inherit, and think about how they could be woven into your home and be part of your story. Just a very visual, tangible storyboard going on around you. And I just think those are the best decorations there are out there. Better than anything you can buy or thrift are the things that have the story behind them. So I hope that you look at your items with new eyes, and you maybe have new ideas of how to create a collection around them or incorporate them into your everyday life and just create more of a story in your home. If you are not already subscribed, I would love to have you join the She Holds Dearly community. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.